back to the show. Here a week later, but somehow in the same outfits.
Hey.
My laundry machine's broken.
It's
Yeah, washer's on the fritz, so gotta conserve.
yeah, that's right.
We're in a drought.
It's border Fission, border official Sabalos. How's
What's
the
up?
border doing?
It's fresh. It's clean.
It's fresh.
We
and
just
clean.
put a fresh coat of paint on it yesterday.
on the board.
On the border.
You got a little can of bear.
Yeah.
Even the one that fell over. Like, yeah, it's painted on the ground.
Yep.
How sustainable. We have nationalistic white guy, Sam.
Here is always.
Yo, relax when you say that. Like, yo, we might have to reel that one back a little bit because that's very
We just lost
electric
all
of a
6
term
of our
right now.
followers.
What happened?
We just lost all 6 of our followers.
You've been talking to his girlfriend too. Huh?
Stephanie, you talking my girlfriend?
Yeah.
We
her show.
have 8.
Oh,
We get new followers every 2 days. How much do you love America today?
Just love-hate things. Complicated.
Yeah, it's a kind of
I love America.
and resident, first generation immigrant. Sunil, how much do you love America today?
A
How come
lot.
you got first generation? I'm first generation.
All of us are first.
Yeah, but
well,
I'm
he's first gen.
I'm first gen, but Sam's
technically.
Sam's
Weren't you
been-
born in
yeah,
Canada?
His people have been.
Sam's a native.
Here. Oh boy. What? Say it again.
Were you born in Canada or New York?
I was born in New York.
Oh, okay. You count.
Yeah, I'm first gen.
I'm watching you.
We're all first gen.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
75% of us are
Hey,
first
is
gen.
the Loony more than $1?
I was just thinking about that like yesterday.
Yeah. I think it's more, right?
Are you saying it's more powerful?
Right. Well, the value, whatever it is. now.
Yeah, it's weaker than $1.
Weaker than $1.
what
It's
the hell's a
weaker
loony?
than it's an American
Canadian
it's
money.
Canadian.
Oh,
money.
that's not even money. That's like
It's a Loony.
it's made up.
It's
Loony
in,
and a toonie.
in a toonie.
You saw it somewhere.
What?
Loony.
I have friends in Canada, and they
Yeah.
talk about. They were talking like, "Oh, I gotta buy this thing. It's whatever Canadian." I was
Yes, they say that.
3 loonies.
It's like blank Canadian.
So the
No,
loony is a one. So they don't have like
It's
they
not
have
101.
coins versus as much paper, and so
Yeah.
a $1 is a $1 coin. It's called a loony, and then they have a $2 coin that's a toonie.
No way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What?
I don't know if it's officially called it, but they call it a toonie.
yeah, they call it loony and toonie.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
Euro was
hence
bad.
Looney Tunes.
That might
What?
make him wearing that black mask okay. I'm just kidding.
Listen,
And our resident black voice is Kelby, so just understand.
Just kidding. That's not okay. It's never okay.
Corbin Johnston.
I don't care how
At it
handsome
again.
you are, bucko.
At it again.
We got
He
you.
did 2 kind of face. He did blackface and then
Oh, boy.
Indian blackface.
He did?
Yeah, he dressed up in a turban.
Native.
and everything.
Oh, he did. Oh,
Not that one. The other one.
For what, Halloween?
he did feather.
does it
he
matter,
did dot,
Kelby?
not feather.
Doesn't matter.
Jeez. Well,
I say that all the time. I'm
yeah,
Indian.
you're from there.
Dot, not
He's
feather.
offending all the people, all the high earners in America.
Yeah, about 1 billion people.
It's all good. I just asked.
A Billy,
about
a
the Looney.
Billy, a Billy, a Billy.
Turns into a
I
Trudeau
incited
argument.
this
I
whole
didn't,
thing.
I didn't even know there was a toonie. But okay, cool. Welcome to the show, everybody. Today, before we get into the conversation, I want to ask a question about small generations. Do you think that 2016 and today, the way people think is radically different?
I'd say so, yeah.
2016.
Yeah. I would say so.
Give it to me.
What do you mean?
Like, why? Why do you say that?
The culture changes rapidly, and I think the adults in 2016 and people who are just becoming adults in 2022, parents, I mean, I'm referring to parents. So people who had kids in 2016 and people who are having kids now are completely different. Completely different culture, social culture.
What about you?
I think so too. We're definitely politically different. 'cause-
But my question is that on the internet? Or is
Yeah.
it like in real life?
well, think about this. Back in the 50s, we didn't have social media. TV was kind of rare-ish, so we couldn't see what the whole world was doing. Now it's like, you know exactly what's going on.
You were born in the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's white.
Well, fair
The time we want to make great again.
Back in my day.
I think that underlying thought processes haven't changed as much as the megaphone is given to different people now.
That's what I think. I listened to some podcasts, but with Bert Kreischer.
Go ahead, one more time.
Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer?
Bert
No, no,
Kreischer.
Bert and Kreischer?
Bert.
Bro, we can
Got
tell
it.
you it. You're going to pronounce it wrong anyway.
So he's a comedian, and he was like making fun. He was not making fun, but he was saying something about Chris Rock's joke at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Where he was like, it's like me getting invited to Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, that's such a 2016 joke. You can't make that joke today.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I remember Obama one time said, like, many generations are happening every 4 years.
Right.
But I think about it, I was like of age in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And was it radically that different? I don't think so. I think people are just yelling more now.
Well, it's also like old shows that you watch. Watch a show from 2016. You're probably like, oh, you can't make that joke now.
I think incentives have changed.
Ooh, tell me that.
So in 2016, I don't remember going viral as important as 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, so many people are trying to go viral, right? So when you're going viral, the only way you could go viral is usually there's two distinct ways to go viral. Something that like touches the heartstrings, make you smile, nostalgic, stuff like that, where it's like a positive thing, and then the shocking thing, right?
Right.
So and shocking, I guess, for the normal person is the easiest way to go viral, right? And then viral means more dollars, viral means more merchandise, viral means you could, create a career just going viral. So then you got to constantly keep pushing that envelope, which is why now you start seeing out with the megaphone, out with where the cameras are, more and more and more and more and more and more and more wild things. But it's not different. Remember World Star back when we were like in college and stuff? That was wild, and it was just like fights and stuff like that. Girls Gone Wild was there, but now it's gotten to the point where it's like OnlyFans, or now it's like how do we it's just gotten more and more like the envelope has been pushed. So it's not that the underlying thought process is there. I think just where the eyes are and what gets attention has just moved.
I kind of feel differently about that
Okay.
because I think the business of going viral has been around since like 2010. Because think about it. I think Vine ruined the world. Right?
Well, it made everything immediate.
Yeah. And first of all, it was 6 seconds long. Now, if I'm watching a TikTok and it's more than 55 seconds, boy, I'm like, this is some feature film.
Right.
You know what I mean?
10 episode
This is like-
documentary?
My goodness gracious. Did you guys have a budget to make this thing?
Right.
Gosh.
I'd be
Probably.
surprised.
That's the first thing. And the second thing is the viral aspect of
Right.
Vine. Remember, we was making Vines, and I had a couple that got big because we were working with some people.
But that was such a pain in the ass to do. The ones that we did, the vines that we did.
Yeah.
And it was like in the middle of summer. We're in this parking lot, and those are just beating down on all of us. And we're like, can we just go home now?
Yeah, let's hurry up and make this.
Yeah.
It was just like, I feel like the business of virality started then. So now, I don't think viral is that important. When you look at TikTok, for example, you can see the difference between 2019 TikTok, 2022 TikTok. I remember I saw the first TikTok have 1 million likes. And I was like, holy crap. Now you could see them have 13 million likes.
Right.
And the even weirder part is when you scroll over to their page, they might have 8 million likes on one, which would normally equate to a bunch of followers. I've had 2 mini viral, but in the time period of when TikTok was happening, it equated to followers. Now you can have 2 ultra viral and then they have 1,000 followers.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm talking about what goes viral has gotten more and more extreme, and not necessarily because it's because society is getting more and more okay with certain things. Like I remember back before cameras had our iPhones or phones had like the real clear pictures and stuff like that. Like when you're trying to get like a picture from a girl or something like that, like the type of pictures that you were getting.
You can see the 6 pixels.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what was
Right.
what like it was like a big deal to get like a picture,
Right,
and stuff like
right.
that. Now it's like girls are getting dick pics from random people on Tinder,
They're
you know what I
airdropping.
mean? Or like you could go on Instagram and see girls like totally naked or pretty much naked. Like, so that wasn't there when we were growing up. I mean, that was like off limits, or that was like, whoa.
Taboo.
Right, that was like you would pay money for a magazine to be able to see stuff that you get to see for free right now. You know what I mean? So I think like in that sense, things have gotten more extreme, and I think that's where people might say, "Oh, well, has society changed?" I guess in a certain way, but I don't know if like the underlying, like for me personally, I don't think my morals have changed from 2016 to 2022.
Really?
I think that maybe my understanding of things have changed. But as far as like my underlying like compass foundation is still the same.
You think you guys are the same?
I think I'm more like I can't be impartial to things. I can't be, I can't be neutral at times because like
You can't.
Yeah, like if you be neutral too much, it's like you're just asking, for one, bad things to happen. Not always, but I'm saying like if you just stay neutral all the time, it's like you're not really.
You're
You
not
could be
progressing.
pushed over.
Yeah.
You could get taken advantage of.
You can take advantage. You get pushed around, and also like you're not the good guy. You're not, Switzerland. Oh, we're neutral, but
Right.
they were the ones holding all the Nazi gold. Like, so it's just point out like you're not. If you're neutral, you're not really the good guy.
Yeah, I think it's been more important to take control of your narrative now, because narratives have become now what people believe is truth, right? So I don't think that was as. I mean, I guess that was always as prevalent, but now because you could get the word out so much quicker and to a larger portion of society. Like back in the day, we were talking about like, if there was a rumor started about you, it was just like in your high school. It wasn't gonna go like to the like if the next high school heard about you, that was probably because you're super popular or something like that.
Or you did something insane.
Right,
Wait,
right.
what?
But
Yeah.
now
Right.
you can start something, put that on Twitter, and some random person in Connecticut could know something about you, or
You could be donkey of the day.
right.
Are you the same?
Hello, from what?
2016.
From 2016? I'd say I'd grown a lot more. Just like from everything. 2016, we were working at the mall. So
What year did we do weddings? 2
we
years.
started in 2016.
And then we stopped in like 2020?
Yeah.
No,
something.
2019.
But have you? But we're talking about.
Yeah, but like, yeah.
I mean, obviously, you for 5 years, your life's gonna be different. But I'm talking
Yeah.
about like your philosophies in life, the way that you think, the choices that you make.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think I'm a little bit more opposite of Sam. I'm not completely neutral, but I do feel there's so many extremes. And if you're not on my team, then you're my enemy. And it's like, I need you to relax.
I don't like that
I need
stuff.
you to
I'm
breathe.
in agreement with that. Like, never let anyone push you on their side.
That's when I totally agree. I'm neutral because I don't want people pushing me into their court, and then all of a sudden the other people go, "What the fuck are you doing with that?"
Right.
Right.
Relax.
It's like playing
Right.
flag.
Right.
This is
Right,
my
right.
side.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
This is
Like,
me.
Yeah.
That's the
gotta
difficult
protect
part
your
about all
narrative.
this stuff because it's like a dance you have to do. Your narrative, you don't want people to say certain things about you because now there's real life implications about what people think about you and how quickly it can spread.
Sure.
And is that like social media's fault? I mean, we've had social media for a while now, but it seems like
I
now
think
it's
it
like
just
on
sped up the
drugs.
process. I don't know if it was its fault. I think it's just a tool like anybody else.
I would blame it
Anything
on
else.
it because here's the thing: like, have you guys ever heard of Simon Sinek?
No.
the guy on TED Talk.
Yeah. So well, he's a TED Talk. He's made all of his money in technology, and he was talking about how he kind of foreshadowed that this was going to happen because of social media. So the same type of, I guess, the serotonin receptors that gets released when somebody gets a like on their video or a like on their picture or a certain amount of views is the same type of reaction that happens when somebody gambles and wins or somebody, takes drugs. The same type of like pleasure centers are being affected by that.
Microdosing.
Right. But when it comes to like smoking, there's an age restriction. You can't smoke till you're 18. I guess now it's 21. When you gamble, you can't gamble till you're 21. When you're drinking, you can't drink legally till you're 21.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to social media, that gives you the same type of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You have access to it from any age, right? When right from
13, technically.
not even 2 years old, you could get on your iPads and stuff like that, and you know, there's 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds that are TikTok sensations and stuff like that. Their parents are doing that, so it's like if like to mentally like look at it, it's as if we're giving young kids access to the liquor cabinet without any restrictions. And so what would happen to society if kids were drinking from 6 years on heavily without any restrictions? What would happen to those kids when they become older and older?
That used to be actually a thing. Before clean water existed, people just drank alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, oh, this is not good for you.
Right. But the way that it affects how you process things is what we're seeing now. So that's why I would say it is directly attributed to, I think,
Let me
access
ask you
to
this.
social media.
We have 3 of us, 3.5-ish, are in a relationship right now. So do you think social media plays a role in your relationship?
Not at all.
I make it a point not to.
What does that mean?
I don't post anything about
Y'all too.
us together. I don't post anything about her, and she doesn't. Well, she's not on social media all that much anyway, but she doesn't either, because what the hell doesn't matter
No one-
to anybody else.
But she also is kind of like that though.
What do you mean?
Like
Well, she just doesn't go on social media at all.
she doesn't want to.
But she knows that I don't post anything about us because it's nobody else's business. Like it's just mine.
So
But
was
you
that a
need to know where
decision
I'm
that was
going for
made?
it. No, it's something that my own personal philosophy. It's like I don't.
What about you? Because you guys kind of got together because of internet.
Technically, well, it's because of the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the internet. Well, I would say this. That wasn't really my question. It wasn't like, do you participate in it?
Right.
I more mean
Does
to
it
say
affect?
like, yeah, does it affect you? Like, are you on social media and then you bring something that you saw on social media into your relationship?
Oh, not into it.
Nothing besides like memes. Like there's some
That's
funny-
what I would. That's
Yeah,
more
show
what
and
I was.
tell. Yeah.
Nah, yeah, I was more like, cause like, okay, on our page, I posted a question for couples, right? And it was like, would you guys do separate vacations? So one person goes to Miami, one person goes to Jamaica, and then we come back to their house 2 weeks later. I can see how that can start something in somebody's house.
Right.
But that happens, right? That's like a bachelor party, bachelorette party.
But
like
making
a
it
one-time thing.
more
Yeah.
frequent.
But
That's
like
kinda
as a regular
different.
thing.
That's kind of different, because like that is an intentional girls thing for the other person.
Right.
That's an intentional guys trip commemorating this thing that's about to happen.
Right, right.
Versus like, I'm going to Miami by myself.
You're right.
I'll see you when I come back. So I can imagine how somebody would see that post and then
Have different views.
and they bring it into their relationship.
Right.
And then now it's like, I wasn't even thinking about this, but then I saw this on social media.
Right.
And it's now
Are
affecting
you talking
us.
about
Does that make sense?
what do they see on social media? Your question?
Like just for example.
As an example.
A topic that wouldn't have been brought up unless
Right.
they saw it on social media.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean. But like,
For the most part, we don't. I mean, that's never been like a. If we watch like a TikTok and they talk about relationships or whatever, like, it's a discussion just to shoot the shit, but it's nothing serious.
got it.
Just a discussion just to discuss.
Got it.
But it's not like heavily weighing down on our relationships.
Interesting. And not for you?
No, she brings up like there's some kind of drama of a guy on TikTok, and she was telling me about it. I'm like, I don't really care. Like this
Right.
doesn't apply to me. I'll listen to you, but she was like, she wasn't saying I'm worried about this. But I'm saying, oh, she was worried that there's people out there like this. There's some guy who like had sex with a bunch of women, and he was Native American, and it was a big
I
old
did
thing.
hear about that.
Did you hear about that one?
I did hear
Okay.
about
I didn't hear about this.
I was like,
But-
whoa.
I was like, I
We're
don't
gonna come back to
care.
this.
We'll come
'cause
back.
I'm
Yeah.
highly invested.
It's drama for sure.
Okay. And have you ever let social media play a role in your relationship?
So I think social media definitely is a big part of entertainment because like I send tweets and like videos and stuff like that to whomever I'm dating, and like, yo, did you see this, or did you see this, stuff like that. As far as has it created problems, is that what you're asking?
Not problems, but does it
Discussions?
have a role? Like
I think so. So now that I'm like dating and stuff like that, I think that a lot of the conversations are geared towards how people have been affected by previous relationships, and a lot of it is like to bring up points, like, for example, you know, a girl's talking about how like men view women and stuff like that, and then she would use like a social media clip from like a podcast or from like something to like be like, see, this is how men think, right? And so I think like that aspect, it's there. So I think just more insight, because the barbershop was always like something that was off limits to women, but now the barbershop is being recorded and put on podcasts. So I think there's more insight than before. And same thing like for women's, like whatever they do, like tea parties or whatever it is, like you can now like can hear it. It's like,
There goes half our followers.
No, but I'm just saying, like, where women talk or whatever it is, like brunches or whatever the conversation, wherever the conversations are, like now those are
He
being
said tea parties.
brunches.
Wait, your girlfriend has tea parties all the time.
And for like her birthday. It was a
See?
celebration.
So anyways, bunko, whatever the girls are doing these days and having conversations with their friends, they're being recorded and put out so men can hear it too. So I think there's more insight for cross information now.
So I'll say this. I think that there was a good period of time in the world where people were operating on limited information.
Ignorance.
And because they didn't have a lot of information, there wasn't just a lot of conversation.
Right.
It was just like, how was your day? Good. We did this happened at the plant. This kid got in trouble. He got a C, blah, blah, blah. It's a wrap. Right. Then you watch the nightly news. You see what happened in your neighborhood, see what happened in your state, see what happened in the country. 4 seconds of what happened in another country. It's a wrap. And typically people will just kind of believe Walter Cronkite. Right. But now I think that social media plays a humongous role because of the amount of information that's thrown at us that you just can't help but talk about it with somebody. So for me, there's the positives where, like, I love watching the financial videos, you know, and sharing that kind of stuff. You know, I send Sam things, and, you know, within the context of a relationship, that exists too. Like, oh, we watch Dave Ramsey, you know, but then there's like the other things that are like societal things, you know, where I can't expect someone to see some of the societal changes that are happening and then not want to talk to their partner about it.
Right.
But that's a byproduct of being on social media.
Yeah.
Right? Selena Gomez said that she hasn't been on the internet in 4.5 years. She probably has nothing to talk about.
Lucky her.
She probably still thinking that gold on my chains is still a hot song.
Throw some D's on
You
it.
know, like, she doesn't even know. But like, sure, you know, she probably feels better.
Right.
But it's such an overwhelming part of life that it's like, how does it not play a role? That's how I see it.
It definitely does.
How can it not? Because you're gonna see some stuff on there. If you follow the shade room, that's conversations for like 3 weeks,
and it could be affecting people subconsciously, not even knowing, right? Because I think you start realizing what's there. So just go back to your initial analogy. You know, everybody was separate, so you didn't know how, like, whatever relationship you were in, that was your relationship. You don't know how other people's relationship are. Now you could go on Instagram Reels and you could hear somebody talk for a minute about how their relationship is, and you could be like, that's not what my man does, or that's not about my woman. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean to say.
That aspect is
that stuff.
Yeah. So before, you didn't know that there was another way of living, right? So now you're exposed to all of that. So I think there's positive in that, because now like people are getting a voice that maybe didn't have a voice before. People that maybe were exploited in a negative way previously are realizing, hey, you know, there's support groups out here to help me with all that kind of stuff. But on the flip side, it also is given the Simon Sinek point, is giving people like carte blanche to be whatever. Like if you want to go have a leash on your neck and walk on all fours and say you're a dog, you can do that. And like, you know, there's people that are going to be okay with that. I think that aspect is there as well. Not if that's right or wrong, that's up to you to decide. But I do think it's also degraded a part of society as well, because there's so much information, people's brains are exploding. They don't know how to process it all.
And it also ruins heroes. Think about Will Smith, right? Think about Will Smith. Before social media, the guy erased memories. He saved the day from aliens. He what's Independence Day about?
You just said that.
Okay, my bad. I was thinking about the other one, Men in Black.
Same thing.
Oh, okay.
He saved the world from aliens.
You know,
he just blew my
Pretty
mind
much
right there.
most of his movies, he saved the world
They're
from
all
aliens.
aliens.
Oh, no robots.
iRobot. He saved the world from robots. He saved the
Wild
world
Wild
from
West.
right. Well,
From
we don't
that
talk
white
about
guy.
we don't talk about that. You're right.
We don't talk about that or
the
Bruno.
Coolest guy in the world. We thought he was the guy in his movies.
Right. And more importantly, like, even his persona outside of the movies, like, he was the I want to be clean rap guy. I'm gonna be the first guy to win a Grammy for rap music. Like, I'm gonna be the positive influence on society and all this kind of stuff. You just saw him.
He didn't even curse in his movies.
Right.
Like, not really.
Or especially in his music, he didn't, right?
Yeah.
And he was just that good guy,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah. The people that white people like.
right.
You know, and
Yeah.
I'm jiggy with it. You know what I mean? So there's this whole saying that you don't meet your heroes. And social media gives you the outlook and the feel that, like, you met your hero. And then so Will Smith years later jumps on social media. He becomes the biggest, hottest thing on Instagram and YouTube and all these things. And then you start actually thinking you might be the Willy Llama. You might be the guy that everybody thought you were when you were quiet. And there's that subtle elegance that comes along with being a star that doesn't say too much. When you don't say too much, people create the narrative in their own head, and then they
Right.
believe it, and you're the greatest thing ever. But then the moment you slip up and you say a little too much, and people find out about you, now they say, wait a second.
You puke during sex?
Something like that. But there was a video that went viral where Jada is in the house and she's recording herself on Instagram Live for Red Table Talk. You guys saw it?
I saw part of it, yeah.
Okay. And so she's like, hey, Esther Perel is coming to the Red Table to help us. She helped us in our relationship. And she shows the camera to Will Smith, who's standing, like, behind her in the house. And he just looks kind of perturbed, you know? And she's talking, and he lets her finish. And then he's like, you know, my social media is my bread and butter, which I thought was, like, the saddest thing I ever heard from the guy who saved the world from aliens.
Right. Twice.
3 times.
3 times.
And he was like, you're not just gonna be filming me in my house, and you didn't even ask, and then he walks away, and I just had like a flurry of emotions because it affected me, because that's not who I thought he was. Now the internet immediately just said, oh, free will, right? That's the first. But to me, I kind of just said, like, well, wait a second. Is the wisdoms and all that stuff, all that character, is that just a dude with his lights on? And is that who he really is?
I think yes.
I think.
But
no.
I think there's a lot to unpack in that.
Tell
So
me.
there's 2 different things that we're talking about, right? So there's a really poignant line in Batman, the Chris what's his name? Christian Bale version, where it said you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the enemy, right?
Villain, yeah.
So that there's an aspect of that in what you're saying. But when it comes specifically to Will, have you ever been in, like, a toxic relationship or an unhealthy relationship where you've changed as a person like you've lost who you are as a person in that relationship?
I've been in some that I didn't really like, and they were mean to me, but I never really lost myself. That's funny. My
what I
side
mean
girl
by-
got a 5S.
What I mean
Still
by, like,
text me back right away.
what I mean by losing yourself is, like, you start doing things to impress the girl, or you like your main goal is to like make this person happy, even if it means you're unhappy.
I guess I kind of have been there before.
Have you guys experienced that at all?
Never, not
Okay.
once.
Cool.
You have never tried to
I have been horrible to women my entire life.
That's,
So
that's
I mean,
how I know you
That's facts.
you experienced it.
so I think that video is what made me realize that that is what he's going through. So when you say, so like, I think, you know, I saw this video on Instagram that I sent you. It was a woman saying that there's toxic women out here that ruin good men, but we just don't talk about it. We only talk about the toxic men that ruin good women, which obviously happens a lot as well. But when you say, is that just him on camera? No, I think Will Smith is the reason why he's so introspective, and the reason why he has all of these levels that you're seeing and all this kind of stuff is because I think he's constantly fighting that battle to keep his confidence at 100, even though he's in a relationship with a woman that constantly sucks that energy out of him. And it's hard. Like I don't know if I've been in a toxic relationship, but I've definitely been in a relationship where my confidence got sucked away from me, and to a point where I didn't even realize it was happening till it ended. And then I looked at myself and I was like, who the fuck am I? Like, what the fuck happened to you?
What did you look at? Like weight gain or something?
No, like just me as a person, the way I thought about myself, what I thought I could get, like my expectations in life, all that type of stuff. And then I looked at who I was pre that relationship, and I was like, dude, you were the fucking man. Why the fuck do you think? Why are you so like depressed? Why are you so like you feel like nothing good's gonna happen? And when you look at Will Smith, you're like, he's this guy, he's this who saved the world all this time, and like now he's this. It's like that's what I see because I've been through it. Like he is not like, I think he's just in this horrible relationship where a woman's going out and saying, I never wanted to marry this guy. Like I please myself. I'm sleeping with other men, all this kind of stuff. And you're seeing just the weight of all of that affect even somebody who most men would be like, that would be the epitome of what I would want to be. At one point he was making the most money of any actor, like making ridiculous buco bucks, right? But that one choice of life partner that he chose clearly has gotten to the point where now it's like he's going up on stage at the Oscars and slapping, you know, Chris Rock upside the face because love does crazy things, right? So I just think it's more that than social media has ruined him. I mean, obviously an aspect because all this come on social media, but
I don't think necessarily social media ruined him. But I will say this. I think that once I heard this is my bread and butter, he opened up the love letters inside of himself to the public in an effort to become the Will that he was years ago. And the thing that fed him might have been the same thing that poisoned him. Because if we never knew anything about him to the extent that we know now, he might have been just that one guy that was in all these huge movies. And then from the movie with him and his son moving forward, he hasn't been able to make a hit. Versus... yeah, he's hot on social media. He comes back out, kicks butt. He does Aladdin. He does Gemini Man. He does all these big movies. He wins an Oscar. But now the price to pay is more than he had to bear, like more than he had in his pocket. So it's like social media could have played a part in that. And his relationship could play a part in other people's relationship as well. Yeah. Because when I watched that and I read the comments, right, people were saying so many bad things about Jada. And when I watched it, I kind of didn't understand why he was upset. Like she was clearly on live talking on the phone and he was like behind there and she just pointed the camera at him. And I would say a stranger... yeah, a stranger, you would be like, yo, don't just be recording me out of nowhere. But it's your wife. Like, she's at the table. talking about her show and she's on Instagram Live. Like, yeah, chances are, and she's talking about y'all relationship. If you're behind her, she might just put the camera on you. I didn't understand that. Now, that might just be coming from my naive mind.
Right. I think it goes back to what we were talking about maybe in a previous episode as far as, or maybe it was this, I don't know, controlling the narrative. Right. So I think Will Smith is very deliberate with when he's on camera or the narrative that when he puts out on social media. I don't know if that necessarily means this is how he is on just when the lights are on. I think that's a true version of himself, but we all have our aspects, our private moments as well that aren't for everybody to share. Mm-hmm. And I saw that as a moment where he was like, he was saying, this is my home. Like, you can't just run up on me and then just parade me in front of your fan base on Instagram or whatever the case may be. Like, he's like, yo, talk to me if this is going to happen. Like, just don't, like, this is my safe space type of mentality, right? And so I just looked at it like that. I think that it's very normal for, you know, even right now, like if I try to take a picture of my sister, of my mom or whatever, like they'll be like, well, don't take a picture. Don't put this online. Don't I think that's a very thing that it's not just post to anybody or whatever unless they're prepared to do that. Mm-hmm. So I don't look at it like, yo, you should, if you're at home and you know she's doing this, you should just expect that. No, like especially if they've probably had conversation. Like she forced him to have that conversation so that everybody could see, and that's where it's wrong. Because clearly that's a conversation that they've had before, which is why she had the eye roll and clearly we have more to talk about, like type of thing. That's what I think that's what I saw more than the way you took it.
I feel like if I was him, I would have just played along, and then when it was done, I would have been like, yo, let me just tell you. Because that's embarrassing for the both of them.
Well,
almost.
You said, and everybody said, you only saw when the light was on.
Yeah.
You don't know if 10 seconds before that he was like, can you just not record? And she goes, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And then starts. You don't know what happened before and you don't know what happened after. So
that's true.
You only ever see when the light's on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's the other dangerous thing.
I agree. That's a great point. I just see Will as a broken man, dude. And I see like he was the strongest dude. And I think it just took longer for him to get to this point because of he had all the power, he had all the success, he had all that. And as I see Jada getting more and more power, having her own show, Red Table Talk, all this kind of stuff, you start seeing like he just like going.
That's what I was
down.
saying with the price to pay.
But that's like some Lucy and Desi shit. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know the story about Lucy.
Nah, explain that.
Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. The whole the movie just came out, Being the Ricardos. That's what it's about. Is that she created this show so that it could have both him and her's name on it, so they could both be the success. But she has to work triple hard to make sure he knows and he feels that he's just as important as Lucy is, because Desi was going out for movies and doing all this stuff, and he had a music career and all that stuff, but he was trying to get into the movies. But they only cast him in like X amount of roles, and they typecasted him, and they didn't want to give him like the roles he wanted. And then Lucy started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and she was getting more roles, and she was overshadowing him. And so they started to, conflict in the marriage, and to the point where, okay, let's make this Lucy. What is it called?
I Love Lucy.
No, with Desi Lou Productions or Desi Lou Studios. They had their own studio for I Love Lucy, and so then the whole. If you watch the movie, it's great
I really want to see it.
It's really good. That's the core of what it's about. It's like, how much does your ego, how much does your own personal pride take over the relationship?
I think about that because Her had a music video about that same subject.
I love that song too.
And it makes me think about Chris Pratt. Does anybody remember that he was married to Homegirl?
Yeah.
Who?
Anna Faris?
Oh, I didn't know.
And Anna Faris had this big old career.
Yep, in the early 2000s.
Movies and House Bunny and all this stuff. And Chris Pratt was in, WB shows and small roles. And then he got Parks and Rec. And then the dynamic shifted. And
Marvel.
Anna Faris got Mom.
Which is a good show.
And it lasted a long time. But after that, you don't hear about it anymore. You know?
And they broke up.
And they
now
broke
he's
up.
married to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
Yeah.
And it's that type of stuff that the insecurity, is it insecurity of man? Because think about this. Like, imagine, we've spoken about this before. Imagine if your partner makes like 5 times more money than you do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What happens?
Right. It's a big. Yeah. It's how much are you letting your pride get in the way of your happiness and your relationships with others?
Yeah.
I think it's where how do you value yourself?
Yeah.
What do you see value in
money?
yourself? Yeah,
Are you
exactly.
using fame? Are you using
Like, I think that it's both ways. I mean, I do agree that it's tough. Like, I think women have a tough, successful women have a tough time or have a burden that isn't necessarily one that they necessarily should bear, but seems to have to bear because a lot of guys could be demasculinated by a successful woman because a lot of the things that maybe men value themselves, their confidence in, like a successful woman doesn't necessarily fit into those categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if a woman doesn't need you to pay for their certain things, then that value that you have as far as being able to take care of somebody financially isn't there. So now how do you still add value? So like it's easy for like a successful woman when a guy's trying to flaunt money and stuff like that to be like, I don't need your shit. I make more money than you or whatever the case may be, which could hurt. Cause like I was having this discussion with a successful, like a woman that I was telling her, cause she was talking about how she deals with this a lot in her past relationships. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I could see how, you know, I told her you need to be with somebody who's extremely confident. Because somebody who isn't extremely confident or has some level of insecurities will feel unworthy, even if it's nothing that you did wrong. So you could only deal with confident men. Like you have to only be with an extremely confident person to be able to be in a successful relationship with you. And she was like, that makes sense.
Does your girl ever pay for her stuff or like y'all stuff when y'all go out?
Never. Oh, a few times.
It feel good when she pay, huh?
You literally like you bought something for me?
For real.
Like she bought me a protein shaker one time. I was like, for me?
I got a $6 drink yesterday, paid for. I was flaunting around the store. Yeah, you know this one paid for me right here. You know, I was happy.
That was 600 pennies. Hello.
That's facts. That's 6 burgers.
Yes.
My girl's
Non-tax.
talked about if she does.
How
the
many
thing that-
loonies is that? I'm sorry. Never mind.
I don't know. How many toonies?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think. Have you noticed that a lot of women are becoming more traditional? The stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife thing is becoming more and more popular.
I haven't
Just
noticed
depends
that.
on where you're looking.
I
I've
haven't
noticed that
at
a
all.
lot.
Really?
Yeah, I went to the barber shop. Some of the females that were there that were cutting hair were like, I'm done with this working thing. I need a man to take care of me. I'll be at the house cleaning, cooking, taking care of the children. And when you come home, you'll have a meal ready for you. And then I heard it there, and I heard it just throughout my journeys now. And I see it on TikTok. There's this woman, she posted a video, and somebody said, like, what's your ideal day? And she said, I wake up, I cook breakfast for my man, and I send him off to work. I go take a walk. I go to the store. I pick up some items. I come home. I do a yoga class at the house, or I go to the yoga studio. I come back. I walk the dog, and then I start preparing food. When my man comes home, he eats. We go to the gym, and then we go to bed. And everybody was like freaking out about it because they were like, where's the work?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you working? And she responded and was like, dude, more and more women want this lifestyle. And it's not all about the boss girl who could do all this stuff. A lot of us just want to be at home and taken care of.
See,
Tell me.
I don't know. That sounds,
Go ahead.
you know, that sounds like you're only seeing one half of the coin. You know what I mean? Like you maybe you might hear a lot more, but I don't know that that's the general consensus. I think there's a lot of, women who want to be business
Independent.
owners.
Yeah, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. It's abnormal. It's abnormal because I think I'm seeing the reverse of what I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing the boss girls.
Right.
And like, I'm gonna start my own thing. I don't need a man. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, that's still what I see. A lot of the people that I see, like on TikTok or social media or whatever it is, a lot of them still want to be independent.
The I don't need a man mentality.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think they have to be, because there's a lot of men that can't be like. So a lot of men want the traditional woman, but they're not the traditional man, right? They can't provide the way that a traditional man would provide, right? So, and then also when you say that, I think a lot of women say that, but they want all the best aspects of the traditional woman lifestyle without the other stuff, right?
Like what?
So, for example, my mom is a stay-at-home mom, right? And
But not stay-at-home wife. She was a stay-at-home
mom and wife.
Oh, okay.
So when she worked when she was in India, but when she got married to my dad and moved over here, she's never worked while she was in the U.S.
Wow.
So, and my dad, he was a physical therapist, and he made, he made enough money so that they could have a lifestyle without it. And even before, my dad had money and they were married, like when they were still struggling and all that kind of stuff, my mom was there as a support system and all that kind of stuff. But my mom was, I guess, quote unquote, submissive to my dad. Like my dad was the they're the patriarch of the family. He made like all the major decisions and all that kind of stuff. And my mom had say and stuff like that. But when push came to shove, like my dad,
That's his.
yeah. And so I don't know if that's what women are saying they're cool with.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. So the barber that told me this, right? I said, so you wouldn't work at all. When she told me this, I just want to be at home, my man taking care of me, blah, blah. She said, no, I'm going to have a side hustle, but I'll be able to do it on the computer at home. And I said, okay, so you're contributing a little bit to the household. She said, no, that's my money. His money is the household money.
Right.
My money is my money.
What's yours is ours, but what's mine is mine.
That's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying when you're saying there's women that are trying to be more traditional. I don't know if that's the case. I think
It's a hybrid.
Yeah, it's like at the buffet, they're picking and choosing what aspects they want. Oh, like, I want to not have to make my own money. I want that, but I don't want any of that. Like, if my man comes home and wants his feet rubbed, that I have to do that no matter. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but are they? They're not slaves.
Not slaves, but that used to be what that used to like. So I used to talk to my mom because clearly she was, really successful in India. Like she paid for her mom's, like the reason why her mom had a house was because my mom made the money. She used to like support like the whole family and all this kind of stuff. So then when I was like, Mom, did you ever want to work here and all this kind of stuff? And she's like, no, Sunil, like I genuinely took joy out of taking care of you guys and taking care of Dad. Like my happiness came from when he was having a bad day, that I could help him get that day better, or that, when you were hungry, that I could make you food. She's like, even when you come home, like now that I live with, she's like, when you tell me what you want me to make, that makes me happy that I get to make this for you. Like, it's not this turned into this for me. Like I genuinely like that. And so I don't know if that's the mindset where I think there are women that are like that genuinely like that lifestyle. But I also think that there's a certain a female that doesn't think that way. But I also think that that's naturally because I don't think men like my dad are like as out there as well. I think now men are also picking and choosing what they want to do. They want to have all of the rights of the patriarch, without all of the things that it takes to deserve those rights. So they don't want to be faithful to their women. They don't want to make enough money to provide the certain lifestyle that woman has. They don't want to sacrifice for the family and stuff like that, right? So they want to be able to do whatever they want as well. So I get why the independent woman was created. or why there's a need for that, because I think that, you know, the patriarchal man isn't as strong anymore. I think there aren't as many men's men anymore.
What do you think about like couples that split everything? Like married, that are like right down the middle.
They have separate bank accounts and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own, I guess. I mean,
but like, does that still mean that there is a head of the household, or do you guys think like that's a dead philosophy?
I think in that scenario, that's cohabitating. That's living together, making decisions together. Because if I'm gonna buy groceries, do you want to split it down the middle? Do you want me to take care of it this month? Do you take it next month, or whatever it is? That's decision making. That's a relationship. That's communication. You know?
I see it all the time at the bank, right? I get to see different couples and how they break down their finances and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What has surprised you from seeing that?
How many women come in to open up accounts that they don't want their husband to know about? That's been wild. I never even thought about that.
And they flat out tell you, like,
yeah,
I don't want my husband to know about this.
Can you make sure nothing gets mailed to the house? Will they see this will they be able to see any, like, this account was created? What will they know? What will they be able to see? All this kind of stuff.
You ask where the money came from?
No, I don't go too in depth about it, but I talk to them and they're like, yeah, like I just want to be able to spend stuff without my husband knowing or telling me that I can't. It's either with.
But then I really want to know where the money comes from, because if you have a job, right, and I'm the husband, I'm be like, how much did you make again? And then if it's not all in the bank, I'm gonna be a little confused.
Right.
So.
Yeah, maybe it is like a side hustle, or like, you know, I'm making X amount of, let's say, like blankets or whatever, and my friends, or I have a Tupperware, I'm a Tupperware mom or whatever.
But even then, like, the husband sees the activities.
The part that never made sense to me is like, what are you gonna do with the actual stuff?
That's
like,
true. Like,
you're gonna buy yourself shoes, you're gonna buy yourself dresses, you're gonna buy yourself, like, what are you gonna do with the, like, your husband's just gonna like be like, oh, I've never seen this dress before.
Yeah,
like,
that's what would happen though. A husband, like, the husband's probably not like scanning the closet,
right?
He's probably like, oh, she probably just bought that.
I'll be like, this looks new. This looks expensive. When'd you get this? Oh, you bought this for me for my birthday. You don't remember? Like, I don't know if it was that way or.
I did.
Yeah, I don't know, but that was something that surprised me. And then also, you can tell, like, a lot of the people that come from overseas, like overseas cultures, it's still very much like the husband pays for everything.
For sure.
Right, yeah.
But
Definitely.
more and more, I guess, of just people that were born here, relationships that are here, you see a lot of, like, the split 50-50, like, money comes from both sides. They split the rent. They split that kind of stuff. I've seen more of that from...
In married relationships.
Yeah, married relationships.
I think that's kind of weird. I think it's kind of weird when you're married to someone and you're like, hey, can you give me like $50 or something?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I like knowing that you're in a relationship, but you're also your own people. I think that's something that's important. You know, if you want to go buy a burger, go buy a burger. Like, what the hell? Like,
yeah, well, but I think I'm coming from a different perspective from you. I'm coming from the, like, if we are married, then all of it is ours. So go buy the burger in our pot of money.
right? Yeah.
Versus like,
I have a bank.
yeah,
account,
or
bank
like,
account,
because
right.
one of my friends told me the other day, like, he's married, right? But he's young. And he was like, his wife texted him like, oh, can I have $100? You know? And he was like, oh, she always spends all of her money. And she always has to ask me for some of mine. And I was like,
isn't it all of your money?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But, you know, he said that to me, and it kind of took me, to the side a little bit, because I thought that was weird. That's something you would do with your friends. Like, oh, shoot, I don't have any more money. Can I get $50? Right.
Yeah, but also that goes back to the traditional values aren't there as much, because there was an aspect to where even though it was our money, we were being reckless with it. Like they're not necessarily all on the same page, right? So I've had people come into the bank and they open up a separate account for their wife and they put money into it because they don't have the discipline when it comes to the main account. They just spend everything, right? They don't have that respect. Like my mom wouldn't, like, even though it was everybody's money, like they were on the same page as far as where this money was going to. They had the same like financial like discipline, same type of plan, goals, stuff like that. I don't know if that's the same way as relationships now. Like now,
was this a regular wedding or arranged or marriage? I mean,
yeah, they knew each other for 4 hours before they got married.
Holy cow!
Okay.
Before they decided to get married.
Decided. So they were like, oh, this is instant love.
I mean, they like, so marriage in India is different, right? So it's more about do we have the same values and can we build a life together? And my mom's mom was like, he comes from a really good family. Like, I would like it if I like him. So
how did they even meet?
So my dad's sister and my mom's sister were friends.
Okay.
From school or something. And so my dad went to India. He was already established in the US, went back to India for a few weeks with the goal of getting married. So he was just meeting all of these women that right before he was about to leave, he met my mom and they like went to the beach. They talked for like 4 hours. They all realized that, they had the same morals, goals, all that kind of stuff. And then they went to their families and said, yeah, I want to marry. This is the marriage that I want.
And then same day?
No, they got married like a week later.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool.
I mean, it doesn't always work out the way my parents' marriage worked out, but
and they love each other.
Yeah, they're like the healthiest relationship I've ever seen.
So what happened to you? I mean, just kidding.
Shots fired.
That's for another episode.
Ooh, all right. Well, with that being said, it seems like there's a sale on tiki torches, so Sam has to go.
Oh, give me a credit card. I'll go.
But if any of you guys want to weigh in on any of these conversations, by the way, thank you guys for March's large spike in listenership. Went up 3 times, like 300%.
Nice.
In March. So thanks to everybody who was listening. Now we went from 6 listeners to 18.
We're there. We're moving up.
Let's go.
Rub that in my girlfriend's face.
Okay. I'm not trying to rub anything in your girlfriend's face. Okay. That's your job. He said go for it. All right. But thank you guys for listening. We do want to hear more from you. Please, get engaged. Chat with us on Instagram. Talk with us on YouTube. And on Twitter, if we are still doing that. Soon, I want to announce one more thing. We are going to have a top 10 book list that we want to share with you guys. If you want to be a part of the book list, send us your email. You can DM us on Instagram, and we're going to make a post about it. And that way you can get the new books that we're adding to our book list on Google Drive, and you'll also be able to get an email every week when the episode drops. With that being said, wear protection.